Have you ever looked in your rearview mirror and felt a genuine sense of awe, maybe even a little bit of intimidation? That is exactly what happens when this absolute monolith of a vehicle pulls up behind you. Welcome back to Crownline Reviews, everyone. Today we are looking at something that completely bends the rules of what a luxury family SUV is supposed to be. This is the 2026 BMW X10, and it is not just a car. It is a rolling statement of power, wealth, and engineering audacity. We are going to explore every single inch of this giant, from its glowing face to its road-crushing performance, to see if bigger truly means better in the modern automotive world. Let us start by just taking in the sheer visual impact of this machine, because it is impossible to ignore. Look at the paint first. It is this incredible stormy slate gray that shifts into a deep moody blue depending on how the sunlight hits the body panels. It looks like a thundercloud carved out of solid steel, but your eyes are immediately drawn to the front end, aren't they? BMW has taken their signature kidney grills and turned them into a neon spectacle. They are massive, outlined in this brilliant, piercing blue LED halo that makes the car look like it is breathing pure electricity. It is bold, it is controversial, and I absolutely love how unapologetic it is. Flanking that glowing centerpiece, you have this intricate split headlight design. The top slivers are your daytime running lights, sharp and focused, while the actual headlights are stacked vertically below, looking like high-tech camera lenses housed in dark glass. Moving down the front, the lower fascia is pure unfiltered aggression. It features these deep gloss black air intakes and a sharp front splitter that looks like it belongs on a low-slung track car, not a three-row family hauler. And then we get to the side profile, which is where the scale of the X10 really hits you. The stance on this specific model is mind-bending. It sits incredibly low, hugging the ground over these gargantuan multi-spoke gloss black alloy wheels. They have to be at least 24 inches in diameter, wrapped in performance rubber so thin it looks like it was painted onto the rim. Notice the classic blue and white BMW roundel in the center of the wheels, tying perfectly into that glowing front grille. The body lines are sharp, boxy, and muscular, giving it a silhouette that feels heavily inspired by the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, but with a distinctly German athletic edge. To really understand the X10, we have to look back at how we got here. 25 years ago, BMW shocked the world with the original X5. They proved that an SUV didn't have to drive like a wobbly top-heavy truck, could actually handle like a sports sedan. Then came the X7, which pushed the boundaries of luxury and size, giving families a true flagship experience. But the X10 is a completely different animal. It takes the heritage of the X5's driving dynamics, combines it with the sheer opulence of the X7, and then turns the dial all the way up to 11. It fixes the one complaint some people had about the X7, which was that it just wasn't imposing enough to compete with the absolute highest tier of ultra-luxury SUVs. The X10 steps into the ring with the heavyweights and refuses to blink. Stepping inside the X10 is like walking into the first-class cabin of a private jet. Because of that boxy exterior shape we just looked at, the headroom and shoulder room in here are absolutely cavernous. You are greeted by acres of incredibly soft, sustainable merino leather and beautiful open-pore wood trims that feel like they belong in a modern art gallery. The dashboard is dominated by BMW's latest curved display, a massive sheet of high-definition glass that sweeps across the driver's view, handling everything from your navigation to your climate control. But what I love is that BMW hasn't abandoned physical luxury. You still have these gorgeous cut crystal controls for the gear selector and the iDrive dial, catching the ambient lighting and throwing little rainbows across the center console. And speaking of ambient lighting, the X10 takes it to an entirely new level. It pulses and changes color based on your driving mode, the music you're playing, or even the temperature outside. In the back, it is less of a traditional backseat and more of an executive lounge. You have reclining captain's chairs with built-in massagers, heated armrests, and enough legroom for a professional basketball player to stretch out completely. There is a massive panoramic glass roof overhead that makes the whole space feel airy and open, even with the dark, moody materials used throughout the cabin. It is the kind of interior where you could drive for 10 hours straight and step out feeling more relaxed than when you first got in. Now let us talk about what is moving this mountain down the road. You might look at that glowing blue grille and think this is a pure electric vehicle, but BMW has done something very clever here. Underneath that massive hood is a plug-in hybrid powertrain that combines a twin-turbocharged V8 engine with a high-output electric motor. You're talking about an approximate combined output of over 750 horsepower and a mountain-moving 800 pound-feet of torque. That means despite weighing as much as a small house, this slate gray beast can launch from 0 to 60 in roughly 3.5 seconds. It is a figure that completely messes with your brain when you are sitting up this high off the ground. The beauty of this setup is the duality it offers the driver. You can plug it in at home and drive around town for maybe 40 miles on pure silent electric power. That is where that blue glowing grille really makes sense, gliding through neighborhoods without making a single sound. But when the road opens up and you plant your right foot, that V8 roars to life with a deep, mechanical growl that you can feel right in your chest. It is the best of both worlds, responsible and quiet when you need it to be, and an absolute powerhouse when you want to have some fun on an open stretch of highway. So what does it actually feel like to drive the 2026 BMW X10? It is a truly surreal experience. When you first grab that thick, leather-wrapped steering wheel, you are acutely aware of the vehicle's sheer size. You are looking down on almost everything else on the road, commanding traffic from your leather-lined throne. But the moment you start moving, the engineering magic happens. Thanks to a highly advanced adaptive air suspension system and active roll stabilization, the X10 manages to hide its immense weight incredibly well. It doesn't lean or wallow in the corners like a traditional large SUV. Instead, it stays remarkably flat, giving you a sense of confidence that is frankly hard to believe in a vehicle of this scale. And then there is the rear-wheel steering system. At low speeds, the rear wheels turn in the opposite direction of the front wheels, effectively shrinking the wheelbase. This means you can maneuver this giant through tight city streets and cramped parking garages with the agility of a much smaller car. At highway speeds, they turn in the same direction, making lane changes feel incredibly smooth and stable. The ride quality is simply sublime. It glides over potholes and broken pavement as if they don't exist, isolating you and your passengers from the harshness of the outside world. It is a sensory deprivation chamber when you want peace, and a surprisingly capable canyon carver when you decide to push it. But let us have a real conversation about what it means to actually own and live with a vehicle like this. This is where we have to be completely honest here at Crownline Reviews. Buying the X10 is only the first part of the financial equation. Running a high-performance, ultra-luxury hybrid SUV comes with significant ongoing costs. Those massive 24-inch tires we admired earlier. They are going to be incredibly expensive to replace, and with the amount of torque this car produces, you might be replacing them more often than you think. Fuel economy, while helped by the hybrid system for short daily trips, will still be quite thirsty on long highway runs when that heavy V8 is doing all the heavy lifting. Then there's the complexity of the machine itself. You have a twin-turbo V8, an electric motor, a massive battery pack, air suspension, and miles of wiring for the advanced technology. While BMW's reliability has improved significantly in recent years, a vehicle with this many moving parts and computers will require meticulous by-the-book maintenance. You cannot skip service intervals on a car like this and expect it to treat you well. You also have to consider the sheer physical footprint. It is going to be a very tight squeeze in older garages, and you will absolutely find yourself parking at the far end of the grocery store lot just to avoid door dings. Owning an X10 is a lifestyle choice as much as it is a vehicle purchase. I want to pause for a second and ask you guys watching right now, especially those of you who have owned large SUVs in the past. Does the idea of a hybrid V8 appeal to you, or would you rather see a vehicle this size go fully electric? Let me know down in the comments below, because I read every single one of them, and I am genuinely curious where the enthusiast community stands on this transition. Are we holding onto the rumble of the V8 for dear life, or are we ready to embrace the silent, instant torque of the electric future? So who is the 2026 BMW X10 actually for? It is not for the person looking for sensible, under-the-radar family transport. There are plenty of great, practical SUVs out there for a fraction of the price that will do that job perfectly well. The X10 is for the person who wants the absolute pinnacle of presence, technology, and power. It is for the buyer who looks at a Range Rover or a Mercedes GLS and thinks, that is just a little too common for my taste. It is a vehicle that demands attention, from its glowing blue face to its thunderous exhaust note. If you want to fly under the radar, this is absolutely not the car for you. However, if you want a vehicle that makes every single journey feel like a special event, a car that coddles your family in supreme luxury while still putting a massive smile on your face when you find an empty back road, the X10 is a masterpiece. It is a bold, brash, and beautifully engineered machine that proves BMW still knows how to make a massive statement. It takes the legacy of the ultimate driving machine and supersizes it for the modern era, creating something that is truly in a class of its own. Thank you so much for joining me today on Crownline Reviews. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the incredible X10, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss our upcoming videos. We have some truly amazing cars lined up for you in the coming weeks that you will not want to miss. Until next time, remember, life is far too short to drive boring cars. Take care, everyone.